Hey team, Pastor Preston here. Just want to give you a quick few things that are coming up. First off, calling all men. It is the men's conference on October 8th and 9th. It's called Versus, and it is going to be awesome. Don't miss it, because if you miss it, they're going to have to pull your man card. That's right, I got my man card right here. I'm not letting anybody take it. And if you don't make it, they're going to take yours. It's $50. It's going to be awesome. There's already some sanctioned fights in the works. For Friday night, it's going to be a fight night between the campuses and all that. So you don't want to miss it. It is going to be amazing. We've got Ed speaking and Kevin Gerald speaking, and it's going to be a great time for us as the men of the house to come together. And speaking of the men of the house, I want to make sure that you guys on Monday nights know that Tracy's speaking every Monday for men of the house here at the Plano campus. And right now we have like zero presence from FC Kids on the elementary side. So guys, y'all need to come on up on Monday nights and just be a man of the house. Don't worry about the children and the child care. We got that taken care of. But I want y'all to come up for listening to Tracy do some phenomenal teaching as he's doing a series called Cross Training. So guys, please, I haven't seen any of us in the FC Kids elementary side out there yet. So please try and make it Monday night 7 o'clock. All right. Another thing I just wanted to bring up to you guys is volunteer recruitment. I was talking to preschool a little bit about this, but I just want to remind you guys of the importance of inviting and going for the ask with volunteers and asking them to serve. Because you know people I don't know, and I know people that you don't know, and we all have this sphere of influence around us, whether it be in our home team or be in Flavor or Men of the House or other friends that you know that are here at church that aren't currently serving. And we got to go for the ask. That's how I'm getting some of these folks recruited in. But if we all invited just one person and invited them to come serve with us in FC Kids and got them recruited in, we would double just like that. And things would be sailing even sweeter than they are. Things are going really great. We're getting new volunteers in quite regularly. I got some new guys starting very, very soon, and that's great. But we always need to be recruiting, always need to be praying also. I want to share a verse with you. It's Matthew 9:37-38. It says, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few." We are the few workers working with a huge harvest in front of us. And, if we need more workers, well, let's see what the next verse says. Part of the verse says, "Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." So we're talking about prayer. I hope you're joining me in praying for the people of Fellowship Church, the people that aren't currently serving in the house, that their eyes would be open, that their hearts would be open, and that we would get opportunities to be able to ask people to serve with us in FC Kids. Because I'm telling you, our best volunteers and our best leaders are not serving yet. And, well, not that you guys aren't great leaders, but what I'm saying with that is that they are not going to just come to us. We have got to go to them and ask them to come serve with us. That's where we're going to get those great folks. So let's get our spears out and go fishing. And we've got to spear them. I mean, we always got to be fishing. We've got to spear some folks too and bring them into the boat so that we can do this thing in FC Kids. Also, I just want to talk about the importance of the pre-service meeting, because that happens at 8:30 in the 2nd through 4th grade room. We have great attendance at that. But I know some of you have not been making it of late, or have not been able to make it at all. And I just want to communicate my heart and vision for that again, because there's 3 big things that are happening in that pre-service meeting that we need to accomplish. Number 1, it's info on the lessons. Things change, things get added at the last minute, and I need to be able to tell you those things. And if you're coming in at 11 o'clock without having done the pre-service meeting, we don't always have time, because that transition in between the 9:30 and 11 is just way too hectic, way too crazy. So that information is really important. Announcements. This is how you keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening here at FC Kids and at Fellowship Church as a whole. If you're not getting the announcements, you're not going to be able to be in the know when somebody comes to ask you a question. Because here's the thing, when you volunteer, you are seen as a leader of this church. And as a leader of this church, someone's eventually going to come and ask you a question about something going on in the church. And we need to be people who are in the know. So on that, when you're in the main worship service, make sure you're sticking it through all the way to the end of the announcements too, just so that you are fully aware of everything that is happening in Fellowship Church. And don't worry about, I know sometimes you try to sneak out so that you can get down to your duties a little earlier, and I know I'm on you about that too, being in place on time, but it's important that you get everything you need to know that's going on in Fellowship Church. We'll take care of things until you can get down there, but make sure you stick it out to the end with the announcements. And then connectivity is the other big thing. We've really cultivated a nice family environment between each other. And for those of you that have been missing the meeting at 8:30, you're missing out on a big part of the bonding that happens between each other. You're missing out on experiencing life together as we share our prayer requests with one another. Some of you that have never been able to make the meeting, I have no idea really what's going on in your lives. Because for us to grow, for us to connect, it has to be done with time spent together. And if we're not taking that time to spend together, then we're not really connecting, we're not growing. And that's what's going to keep us coming back and keep us fused together. So please, please, please try and make that meeting, because let's face it, during that hour that we're serving, we need to be focused on the kids. And there's not a lot of time for socializing. So please make sure you're getting there for the 8:30 meeting. Make it a renewed commitment to be there at 8:30. Those of you who've never been, just get up a little earlier. Just make it. It's really a mandatory meeting. It's not really an option, but what can I do? You know, I'm encouraging you in this, because all it's going to do is prepare you more and more for what's going to be happening that morning. Because the way I look at what we do, and I've shared this with y'all a little bit before, is like we are an army. We're soldiers in an army, because there's a spiritual warfare battle going on between the dark forces, of Satan and of light, of God. So evil, good versus evil. It's very simple, and I'm going to use my little toys here as a little example of that. I mean, it could be summed up in a Star Wars analogy here. You see, you got the Empire, you got the evil empire led by Darth Vader, which we will call Satan. All right, and then you've got the Rebel Alliance, and we are like rebels, right? Because it tells us in Romans 12 that we need to not conform, not copy the customs and the behaviors of this world. So we have to go against the grain, against the norm. And so that's what we do as an alliance, as Christians, allied together. We are rebelling against what the forces of evil are trying to do. So, when you look at the evil empire, they're small, actually, in comparison to the Rebel Alliance here. They've got also good behind them. Good is going to be always a lot bigger than the bad. And so with the evil empire, you see the Death Star looks really huge, but in comparison to the rest of the universe and all that God has done, it is this small. Satan cannot win. We know this because we've read the last page. The last page of the Bible says we win. And this battle, though daunting sometimes, the spiritual warfare that can sometimes be overwhelming, is an easily won battle when we are aware of Satan's schemes and his tricks. And one of the greatest things that he tries to do is to make you believe and me believe that this isn't worth it. It's too hard. You get burned out, that it's just too much. And I'm telling you, that is one of his biggest tricks, to try and thwart you and I from doing the thing that God has called us to do. And that is to win souls for Christ and to build a solid faith foundation for these kids for life. So I just encourage you to just band with me together in this, that we take up the shield, we take up the sword, and we take the charge as we battle for kids' souls. And it's all of this I'm talking about stems from our vision statement, which is to show kids God's love and help kids love church. You've seen it above the halls of FC Kids, and that's what it all is about: showing kids God's love, helping kids love church, relationships between each other, and relationships with the kids. So I hope to see you all this weekend at 8:30 for our team meeting, and you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you then.